Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Big T. Anderson. This is It's Bitter Taste, Resentment by Unwritten Fantasies. This is a Vampire Diary fanfiction. Links below are to the fanfiction page as well as the author's page. If you enjoyed this, please give the author a looky-loo. Check out some of their other work. Give the story a good review. And comment if you have something to say here or just want to say hello. Let's begin. Happy birthday to you. It was October 10th, 1996. A chorus of voices sounded from around her. It was a small gathering. Just her mom, dad, Elena, Bonnie. Just like it always was. She'd wanted a bigger party this year. She was turning 4, but her mom had said no. It was too expensive. It was just as well, though. She hadn't started school yet, so she wouldn't have many friends. She wouldn't know who else to invite anyways. The house was decorated very low-key, too. A few streamers hung outside, a few pink balloons, a small banner that said happy birthday, which they reused every year for everyone's birthday. However, it was still her special day, and she was still surrounded by people she loved. Make a wish, Caroline. Her dad whispered in her ear. But don't tell anyone, or else it won't come true. Caroline giggled and blew out the candles. She told no one of her wish. July 22nd, 1997. Caroline, sweetie, hurry up. We're going to be late for the party. Caroline adjusted herself in the mirror quickly. She was wearing a small, pretty white dress with a big pink bow at her waist. Her hair was neatly brushed by her mom this morning, but she'd insisted on dressing herself. Satisfied with her reflection, Caroline ran out of the house to her mom's car, grabbing Elena's birthday present as she went. She strapped herself in the back seat, practically bouncing with excitement. She couldn't wait to hang out with Elena and Bonnie. Also, Elena's parents were really nice and let them eat and play whatever they wanted. Caroline wrinkled her nose. She just hoped that Jeremy, Elena's little brother, wouldn't bother them. When they finally pulled up to the big white house, Caroline marveled at the abundance of streamers and balloons and banners wishing Elena a happy birthday. Guests crowded the porch, shaking hands with Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert and hugging Elena. Caroline frowned. She got out of the car and ran up the porch steps, excitedly waving at Elena. The hound brunette's face broke out in the huge grin as she pulled Caroline into the house. The party seemed to cover the entire house. Everything was birthdayed up, and kids crowded the living room. And apart from Bonnie, Caroline didn't recognize a single one of them, but Elena bounded towards the crowd. As they all shouted happy birthday in what was almost unison, Caroline watched the scene play out, and she couldn't stop the strange feeling bubbling up in her chest. August 18th, 1997. Caroline grinned as she caught sight of her new school. She was finally growing up. She was in kindergarten. Okay, Caroline. You excited for your first day of school? Her dad asked from beside her. Caroline nodded her head furiously, and her dad's chest vibrated as he laughed. Okay, sweetie, let's go find Elena and Bonnie. And as if on cue, Caroline spotted the two brunettes standing at the entrance of the school. She sprung into action, running over to them, dragging her chuckling dad behind her. As her two best friends saw her, their faces stretched to accommodate their grins. They held their hand out to the blonde, and together they walked into the school, with their heads up high and their hopes even higher. Caroline had soon found a favorite spot in the sandbox. There, she poured her heart into building the perfect sandcastles with decorations of the most beautiful leaves and twigs she could find. Speaking of, she needed to go find more to make the tower of sand even more fitting for a princess. She left the now empty sandbox, searching for just the right fallen leaves. It took her a few minutes, but it was worth it when she returned with an armful of fallen parts of plants. However, the pile fell to the ground as she stared open-mouthed at the scene in front of her. A boy with blue eyes and blonde hair was sitting next to her broken castle, eyes wide in shock. Caroline felt like crying. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I was playing tag with Tyler and I ran here and I wasn't looking, so I stepped on the sandcastle and... Tears flowing down her cheeks, Caroline surged to the castle, cradling a handful of sand to her chest. She didn't care that she was being a bit dramatic. It took her ages to perfect this. And now it was all gone. Care, are you okay? Elena's concerned voice sounded from behind the crying blonde. I accidentally broke her sandcastle. I'm so sorry. Please tell her I'm sorry, Elena. The blue-eyed boy said. Caroline's tears stopped. Wait, how did they know each other? Her head whipped around and her eyes landed on the boy. He was actually kind of cute. Perhaps they could be something when they grew older. Then she noticed the look he was giving her best friend. It was a look of adoration and puppy love. He didn't have eyes for anyone else, let alone her. Caroline felt tears burn in her eyes again, but this time for a completely different reason. The blue-eyed boy didn't notice, just kept staring at Elena. It wasn't Elena's fault, of course. All she cared about at the moment was making sure her friend was okay. But that just made her feel even more resentment because, gosh, she didn't even try. Caroline brushed Elena off and dashed into the classroom to wash her face. The cold water washed away the red in her eyes, and as she stared at the mirror, she felt determined to swallow down the bitter taste that was creeping into her mouth. October 2nd, 2001. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I'll love you tomorrow. You're only a day away. Caroline sang her little heart out. She had been practicing this for an entire year. She had the lyrics completely down. She was a good singer. She didn't have much stage fright. She killed it. And as the lyrics floated away, there was almost no doubt in her mind that she would get the lead role in the year's primary school musical. The audience clapped wildly. She took a bow, the loudest of claps coming from her two best friends, Elena and Bonnie. She grinned, but resisted the urge to wave wildly at them, as it would be a display of unprofessionalism. The two girls grinned back, Bonnie giving a huge thumbs up, Elena waving ecstatically as the clap started to die down. Caroline, as casually as she could, strolled off the stage, but as soon as she was out of the spotlight, she giggled and sprinted over to where her friends were seated. Oh my god, that was so good! Thank you. See, all the practice paid off. Elena exclaimed, and Caroline stated, giving Caroline a huge hug. Bonnie nodded in agreement. I don't know. I mean, after what you just pulled me and all the other girls might as well go home, Elena said. Looking at the stage nervously, auditioning for the musical wasn't Elena's first choice. Caroline knew the girl would rather stayed in the audience with Bonnie and supported her. But Elena's mother had been in the school musicals countless times, so she wanted her daughter to follow in her footsteps. That being said, Elena was still nervous to go up there, as any normal girl would be. Caroline blushed at the compliment. No, you practice for this too. I mean, even if you don't get the lead role, any role would be great. I'm sure your mom will still be proud. Caroline assured her. She racked her brain for the quote that people often said when it comes to theater. There are no small roles, only small actors. Elena nodded appreciatively. Thanks, Care. I really do hope, though, you get the lead. You've earned it. You're definitely better than all the other older girls. Caroline had been outside prepping when they watched the 4th and 5th graders, but Elena and Bonnie had watched all of them. Caroline knew the older girls were her toughest competition, and it helped ease her anxiousness to hear that Elena thought she was better than them, even if she was a little biased. Okay, next up, Elena Gilbert. Good luck! Bonnie and Caroline wished her in unison, before giving the suddenly pale-faced girl a friendly nudge towards the stage. They quickly took to their seats, watching as their best friend took to the stage and sang. October 4th, 2001. As soon as the bell rang, Caroline dashed out of the classroom faster than anyone else could blink. She raced down the stairs, across the school, annoyed at how far away her classroom was from the auditorium, outside of which the casting list was posted. When she finally made it to the doors, there was already a crowd of both boys and girls, though mostly girls, crowded in front of the piece of paper. Caroline scanned the hordes for Bonnie or Elena, as their classrooms were much nearer, so they were probably already there. However, Bonnie found her before she found them. Is Elena there? I want to check the list together. Caroline said excitedly, once again searching the crowd. Her eyes settled on Elena, who was still trying to make it to the front of the crowd. Caroline, Bonnie said. Caroline switched her attention to find that the girl was giving her a weird look. What? I saw the list already, and, well, you should probably see it for yourself. With that, Bonnie grabbed her arm and pushed her way through the crowd, grabbing Elena on the way as well. In no time they made it to the list, and Caroline began to scan the list of names for hers. To her relief, she found it and followed the line to find she wasn't the lead. Not really, no. She was just the understudy. Tears threatened to fall, but she quickly blinked them away. She quickly searched the rest of the list to find out who had gotten the lead role over her, expecting some 5th or 4th grader's name, only to see that it was Elena. Of course, perfect little Elena. The lead girl looked at her in sympathy, but Caroline ignored her and continued to stare blankly at the paper. Why? Why wasn't she enough? She had worked so hard for this, harder than anyone, including Elena. Heck, the other girl didn't even really want to be in the musical, so in what universe was it justice that she got to be the lead, but Caroline didn't? This time, she couldn't swallow down that bitter taste left in her mouth. Hopefully you enjoyed this little fan fiction. Please give the author's work a read. Check out some of the other stuff they've written. And once again, have a good one. Ta-ta for now.